So, Genesis chapter 17, it says, "And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram." Now let me stop here for a minute. Let me give you a backdrop of what happened between when he was 75 to 99. So we're talking a good 14 years, 14, 15 years. All right. The Lord started promising Abraham things when he was 86 years old. He came to the land of Canaan and he won a war against 4 kings from the Middle East. I'm just using that term, Middle East. I told you it was Northeast Africa. So these kings came against the king of Sodom and king of Gomorrah and king of Zoar and other kings, 5 kings against these 4 kings from the Middle East. And the 4 kings beat the 5 kings. And Lot, the nephew of Abram, was also taken captive by these 4 kings. So Abram, he was in cahoots with some of the Canaanites, Mamre the Amorite and his brother, and both these guys came with Abram to fight against these 4 kings. So Amorites and these Hebrews were together, and they beat the 4 kings. Abram only had 318 people with him, and he destroyed armies with these Amorites. So God blessed them. And he didn't take a reward from the king of Sodom when he was trying to offer it. And so God blessed him and said, listen, look up, see the stars, I'm going to bless you, Abram. If you can count the stars, then you can count the seed of your descendants. Because so shall the number of your seed be. Multitudes of nations are coming out of you. And Abram said, Lord, how can this be? Because I don't have any children. And Eliezer, the Syrian, my servant from Damascus, he will be my heir. The Lord said, he will not be your heir. You might be an old man in your own eyes, but he will not be your heir. Out of your own loins, you're going to produce nations. And so the Lord told him this, and he made a sacrifice unto God, and the Lord made a promise to Abram and said, I swear by myself, I make a covenant with you, Abram, that I'm going to bless your seed. Now your seed is going to go into a strange land, and they're going to be mistreated in that strange land, and they're going to be slaves in that land. But after 400 years, I will judge that nation that enslaved your descendants, and your descendants will come out of those lands in great power. They will be delivered, and I'll bring them back to this land again, this land Canaan, and they are going to not come out empty. They're going to be, I will repay them. They're going to leave that land with great riches because they slaved for 400 years. Well, actually, folks, that has actually come to pass in 2019. From 1619 to 2019, that's 400 years. Our people have been incarcerated, taken from the shores of Africa. When we fled from Jerusalem and settled in West and South Africa, and then the ships came and took us over here. 400 years was up in 2019 if you're dealing with people in the United States of America and Canada. And the slavery that was done by the British, it was around the same time as well. So the 400 years is up. But this is when the Lord spoke to Abraham and said it would happen. But this has happened before. This happened in Egypt, as we all know. And God sent Moses to deliver the Israelites out of the slavery in Egypt. So we see the movies, the 10 Commandments, and all of this thing taking place. Absolutely. But here's the thing. God told Abram in chapter 17, I'm just going to paraphrase because it's a long scripture. He says, I'm making my covenant with you now. But before chapter 17, we got chapter 15. Abram makes a mistake. You see, he comes down from the place of worship, his wife Sarai, she's having a little conversation in her head and saying, I'm too old, I'm dried up, I can't produce children, so I'm going to solve this problem. She comes to her husband, Abram, and she said, look, the Lord has forbidden me he stopped me from having kids. So here's my maid, this Egyptian, Hagar. Have a child through her, and that child, she will be a surrogate mother to the child that she brings forth. I will claim that child as mine. So I'll have children through my maid. And they did those things in those days. And Abram listened to his wife. And the result was Ishmael, the father of the Arabs. Okay? Now, God promised Abram, yes, I will bless the lad, Ishmael. And it's actually found right here in chapter 17 of Genesis. But he said, my covenant is not with Ishmael. So we're going to look into this right now. Keep in mind the topic here. And the topic is, what is your purpose? There's a purpose. There's a price you have to pay. God has to see you endure. You've got to endure like a soldier until the promise is brought forth. You have to understand what it is that God has made you for. Each and every one of us has an assignment in life. Each of us have to produce that which God has made us for. Many people leave this life without having to go through that. They don't ever realize the reason why they were born. But hopefully you, at the sound of my voice, you will be one of those that achieve what God made you for.